Thank you, Carolyn. Larissa, Varsha, and Maddie, tonight's Girl Scout speakers, and Karina, who I met at Camp CEO in August and is a table ambassador. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you for sharing your stories, giving us hope for the future and reminding us each of why we're here tonight. We're here to support Girl Scouts in its mission to build girls like each of you, girls of courage, girls of confidence, and girls of character, girls who will make our world a better place. Thank you to our Forever Green Leader Award honorees, Padma and Nushin. It's wonderful to know you both are leading the charge to change the world. I also want to personally thank Cheryl for speaking out, for writing Lean In and being here this evening. In the preface of Lean In, Cheryl asked herself, what would you do if you were not afraid? And she answered that she would write a book on the topic of gender and women in the workplace because she knows from personal experience, as do I, that we all will benefit when both halves of our population are fully represented in the workplace and in leadership positions. While the issue of bias is real, many of us have chosen to ignore it. Cheryl has brought this issue to life in a way that I didn't personally think was possible. I must admit that before Lean In, I would shy away from gender discussions. I would take the view that performance will overcome gender, the keep your head down and perform model. Cheryl challenged me to rethink those views. Thank you, Cheryl. Lean In has sparked conversations and prompted not just women, but also men to reconsider what we need to do to help our own careers and what we need to do to help other women and men in our organizations. This is not only good for women, it's good for our world. And as Cheryl said, companies like ours, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, AT&T, and the myriad of other companies, we will no longer consider the inability to hire as the biggest blocker to our growth because we will be able to recruit from 100% of the population. And imagine that world leaders like Warren Buffett will no longer be able to say that their success is because they're only competing against half the population. Recent articles in the New York Times about gender and the impact of women at Harvard Business School reinforce many of the points that Cheryl raises in Lean In. We do live in a state, a country, and a world with cultural biases that make it more difficult for women to succeed in leadership and to maintain their interests in science, technology, engineering, and math in high school and beyond. And that's where Girl Scouts comes in, and it's why I'm a proud board member and a proud donor. Being in Girl Scouts had a huge impact on my life. It taught me leadership skills. It taught me resiliency. It increased my ability to be able to work with people. And, of course, my passion for the outdoors and love of s'mores. I'm not alone. Former Secretary of Homeland Security and the first women president of our own University of California, Janet Napolitano, a proud Girl Scout alumna, credited Girl Scouts as providing her first lessons on preparedness and courageous leadership. And Janet Napolitano is also not alone. We count among our Girl Scout sisters 59 million living alumni. And these are some pretty amazing women. Every single female Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, Condoleezza Rice, and Hillary Clinton, each were Girl Scouts. And of the 20% of members of the US Senate that Cheryl mentioned, 70% of them were Girl Scouts. 80% of women-owned businesses are owned by former Girl Scouts. And virtually every female astronaut who's flown in space was also a Girl Scout, including Sally Ride. And all 5 current women governors are Girl Scouts. And from this rich history of courageous leadership, today's Girl Scout programs are intentionally designed based on research to teach girls the skills and qualities that they need in order to lead. Because building courage and confidence, exposing girls to a wide range of opportunities and role models, and giving girls the opportunity to grab a seat at the table and lead, as you heard tonight from Larissa, Varsha, and Maddie, that's what Girl Scouts is all about. Many of you here are interested in how Girl Scout programs are helping to encourage more girls to become and remain inspired by STEM careers. Research shows that 80% of high school-age girls are interested in a STEM career, but only 13% of them choose STEM as a career choice. And the reasons for this, based on research, are threefold. The perception among girls that STEM careers are less impactful on the world, that they're less collaborative, and they're more subject to negative stereotypes for women. Girl Scouts of Northern California's Girls Go Tech programs are designed to help girls experience a different side of STEM, the side that's helping to make the world a better place, where people work in teams and where there are amazing role models. Girl Scouts of Northern California has STEM programs for every age level, from kindergarten through the 12th grade. And girls are designing and building green dollhouses and circuit boards, programming robots, and meeting scientists and engineers at Girl Scout organized career days, networking events, and field trips. Last year, over 5,500 girls participated in STEM programs, including 3,500 from underserved communities and 117 underserved schools. And Girl Scouts is able to engage these girls in a very special way. For instance, what better way is there to get a middle school girl excited about engineering or robotics than for her to get to see a cool high school girl who loves engineering and robotics? You heard about this from Maddie, and we saw it last summer with Lorraine, a recent Space Cookie graduate, who's starting, by the way, her freshman year at MIT this fall. Lorraine worked for Girl Scouts in Northern California in our summer robotics day camps, generously funded by Dell Computers. And girls in Oakland and from migrant farm communities learned how to program Lego Roberts. I wouldn't know how to do that. Met role models and fell in love with Lorraine. And these programs are working. 88% of the girls who participate in Girls Go Tech programs feel more comfortable about engaging in science and engineering activities. And 64% are more interested in STEM careers. Get this one. 94% of the alumni of the Girl Scout Space Cookies programs have pursued college majors in STEM. About 660 girls a year participate in the Got Choices program that Larissa described, and 98% of those, 98%, report an increased ability to make positive life choices. The Girl Scout programs are working. So, how do we keep these programs going and help even more girls change the trajectory of their lives and to transform our world? That's where each of you can come in and help. Last year, Girl Scouts of Northern California launched a 5-year campaign to raise $20 million, to expand programs like Girls Go Tech and Got Choices, to train more volunteers, and to get our 3 most used camps ready for tomorrow's girls. I want to thank our campaign chair, Robin McGilvery, who is here tonight and whose work has just begun. At the close of year 2 of our campaign, we've raised $8.4 million, 42% of our goal. The funds we've raised are already making a difference. We're investing in bilingual materials and staff and have increased Hispanic girl membership by 26%. We're on pace to double the number of girls we serve in underserved communities from 7,000 girls to 14,000 girls. And we've built an impressive online training program for volunteers who this year completed a record 5,500 online training classes. And in 2014, we'll be breaking ground on the first phase of building projects on our 3 most used camps. At Camp Bothine, right outside of Fairfax in Marin County, where Larissa, Karina, and I attended Camp CEO this past summer. a program, again, that brings together disadvantaged high school girls who are high potential and women business executives. We're raising funds to convert a really old dairy barn, it's kind of dilapidated, but it's beautiful, into a year-round innovation center. This innovation center will tie together everything that we've been hearing about tonight: a flexible and inspiring space for girl-led leadership conferences, for robotics competitions, digital movie making, art, and biology. And I'm personally excited about this innovation center and have committed $100,000 to it. Last week, Marina and I were walking the Stanford Dish, and we were talking about the campaign, we were talking about the event this evening, and we were talking, Cheryl, about Lean In. And Marina said to me, "You know what, Erika? There's something I would do if I wasn't afraid." And she said, "I'd be the CEO of a nonprofit organization that's running by far the biggest campaign it's ever run." So we laughed, and she likes to say that I said, but actually Marina said to me, "And Erika, you know what you would do if you weren't afraid?" And I said, "No, Marina, what would I do?" As I was huffing up that hill at 6:45 in the morning. And she said, "You would stand up in front of this audience Tuesday night and you would ask them to join me in supporting our campaign." And I said, "Marina, you're right." And so here I am asking you to join Marina and I and the 63 other donors in participating in the campaign. We believe that the time for the investment is now. To drive this point home, I want to share 2 quick stories with you. The first is about Camp CEO, which, as Larissa mentioned earlier this evening, changed her life. I attended again this summer for the first time. And one of the activities was a ropes course. Now, I've done some pretty audacious things before, like riding my bicycle across the country, but I've never done a ropes course. And kind of like heights aren't my thing. And so I reluctantly did the ropes course, and I was doing just fine. You know, it was a little bit scary when I had to let go behind me and like going up front. But all of a sudden, I had to jump off this platform that they tell me was 60 feet off the ground. Personally, I think it was 600 feet off the ground, truly. And I just froze. I froze. I couldn't do it. And then I looked down, and all the girls who I was supposed to be mentoring started cheering me on and said, "Come on, you can do it. Erika, you can do it." And they were right. I could. And I reminded, and by the way, I survived. I didn't break any bones. It was okay. I didn't do it again, though. And I was reminded that we are all in this together, and that oftentimes when you give, you actually receive much in return. Since Camp CEO, I've stayed connected with one of the girls I met, Karina. She's an amazing girl, and it's been my privilege to help mentor her. And along with one of my attorneys, we're working together so that she can achieve her dream of going to a 4-year college and then becoming a doctor. My second quick story also relates to mentorship. Some of you may know I was a special education teacher in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'd been thinking about going to law school. I was discussing it with the teacher next door. I was worried about how to pay for living expenses, let alone tuition, for years 2 and 3. And this teacher who was next door said to me, and by the way, she ultimately kicked me out that door. She said, "Go, you'll figure it out." And those words, "Go, you'll figure it out," have stuck with me for decades and have been a rallying cry for me. Barb, thank you. And it's through this kind of mentorship that we ensure that women have the choice to sit at the leadership table, and how we all, men and women, can transform our world. So I'm going to ask you to press pause for a moment and to ask yourself, what can you do to help mentor someone? And that's the adults in the room, and as Cheryl said, it's also the girls in the room. Because in Girl Scouts, there's many ways that you can connect with and mentor girls who come from all walks of life, from detention centers to Indian reservations, from migrant farming communities to suburbs, from inner city schools to private schools. Think of the amazing girls who you met tonight. We have 21 girls here. Imagine the 60 that were at Camp CEO this past summer and the 50,000 girls that we work with throughout Northern California each year. That's why I'm excited about supporting our campaign and building a strong foundation for the women of tomorrow so they can choose what they want to do with their lives to make our world a better place. You are here this evening because you share that belief in our mission. And I ask each of you to help make a difference and think about contributing, whether it's with your time, your talent, or your dollars. Hopefully all three, but I'll settle for 2. I look forward to your contributions to our collective cause. We have envelopes on the table if you are inspired to give tonight, or if you would like to just learn more about how you can help out as a volunteer or a mentor. Just put a note on your business card or your napkin about your interest and leave it in the envelope. I'm proud of the progress that we're making in the lives that we are changing, systemically and one girl at a time. So in closing, I leave you tonight with this one question. Not what can you do, but what will you do? And with that, I want to thank each of you for coming.